Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to this 15 minutes live. Yes, I'm still in lockdown. Uh, it's okay. It's not that bad. In actual fact, I'm enjoying it. I'm really enjoying it. It feels like being on leave. And to be honest with you, I really don't want to go out of the yard. I'm quite fine staying indoors within the property. I don't need to go out of the yard. There's nothing really that I need to do outside except spend money. Most of the stuff I've got inside. I've got indoors. So the lockdown is not that bad. It's okay. Uh, it's just been extended by another 2 weeks. So which means as of this point, I'll be in lockdown for another 21 days, which is not that bad. Most of the time, just keeping myself busy with passing time watching movies. We have been playing some games, some Monopoly in 30 seconds with the kids. But most of the time, everybody's just on their devices, their cell phones and tablets, or they're either watching TV. Twice we have made an open fire, and once we've prepared breakfast on the open fire, and the other time we did lunch on the open fire. So it's nice. It's nice to not use the stove and eat from an open grill. But most of the times it has been indoors. It has been nice weather, bit of overcast, slight light rains, so that keeps you indoors. It keeps you in bed. Most of the time I'm in my pajamas, and I just stay in my pajamas. Less washing, I guess. But the lockdown has been fine. The TV channel is a lot on the news, and then we take it off and then we watch some movies and stuff. The internet has been really slow, so we got a few movies, streamed a few movies, but most of the time it's local content, that I've built up over the years. And you kind of just, it's nice to relive those Cheers moments or Seinfeld moments. So yeah, and I don't mind watching a movie or watching a series more than once. Relive those moments, and you enjoy it. You know it's a good movie. It's a fun movie, and you just kind of relive it. You know what I'm saying? So it's nice. And to be honest with you, to me, it's always better watching a movie the second time. I think you enjoy it more. There's a lot in the first that you've missed out, which you catch on the second watch. And yeah, I mean, I've watched Titanic probably 50 times, if not more. And every time I watch Titanic, I still enjoy watching Titanic. So yes, I'm resting. It's a wonderful time for me. Sometimes I sit too much, or sometimes I lay too much, and then you need to stretch the body. So I do that. I feel like I've gained weight also. I don't know if it shows on camera, but I can feel like I've got some boobies. So I've got a very nice physique, and I've got a very fast metabolism or whatever. So yeah, I don't think I'll really grow big or get fat, but I can feel like I've put on a couple of kilos or pounds. Unfortunately, my scale's not broken. The battery in the scale is dead, so I can't weigh myself. But being a skinny person all my life, I don't mind putting up some weight as long as I remain healthy and fit. It's all good. But what I want to talk to you about today is the tools. I think everybody needs tools, and yeah, I'm kind of into a new type of business. You know, you can see there at the back, quality used engines. So at this point in time, I'm selling engines, and I'm really enjoying it. And with selling engines, there's a couple of tools that you need. I mean, most of the tools I had in my garage, I had to buy some new tools to support the business, and I had to learn how to use these tools. But I'm really enjoying it. But I think in everything in life, you need tools. There's no way you're gonna go through life or make a success of whatever you are doing. There's no way you can make a success if you don't have the right tools. And whenever my son and I do something or we do a job, we always come to the conclusion the job is so much easier if you have the right tools. There's many times where we went halfway into the job, and then we find we don't have a tool to do this part, and then it's a lot of time being wasted, a lot of run around to go get the tool. Either we go borrow or we go buy the tool, because sometimes you'll only need the tool for this one job. You'll never, maybe somewhere in your life you'll need this tool, but in most cases you buy the tool and then it just sits there. You never use it again. But you do need the right tools, and if you don't have the right tools, it's very difficult to complete a job or to make a success of whatever you are busy doing. So in my 20s, I still believe that the company that I worked for in the 20s, that I was the youngest manager ever appointed. Maybe now it's different, but I think at the time, I think I was the youngest, and I think a lot of people at the time was really shocked at me being appointed into a management position. Well, I'm not saying I didn't have the potential. I had the potential, I had the drive. But at that time, me walking into this management position or being appointed into this management position, meeting up with my peers or, everybody in my group, I was certainly the youngest sitting in the boardroom, and with all these senior guys and their mustaches and bald heads, and I was really the youngest. And I wouldn't say it was difficult. It was surely fun. There is a level of thinking that's different between the ages, but I was very ambitious at the time. But why I'm saying this is, walking into this group and walking into the first meeting with my boss who employed me, he was also a bit of a older guy, not old, but there were probably 20-year difference between myself and him. And walking into this meeting, and the first thing I learned was plan, do, review. And this meeting was actually called a plan, do, review. It was labeled as a plan, do, review. And in this meeting, we would plan activities, and we would plan for the group. And my work, the work that the rest of the group did, kind of nicely tied into one another, and there was a lot of dependencies. And if you think about the conveyor belt, if you think about the production line and the conveyor belt, where one person, think about how Ford built his cars, and the production line, the one's work is dependent on the other one's work. And so they complement one another. So me being in this group, I kind of felt that I don't fit into this group because what I was doing at the time was not part of that production line. It was just a case of saying we need a place to house this area of the business, and let's give it to this guy. He was wonderful. I have to tell you, he was wonderful. He was awesome. I've learned so much from this person. And part of this group and every meeting we had was a plan, do, review meeting. And we would plan and we would do and we would come back and we would review and we would make changes. We would go back, we would come back and review, report back, and so it went on. And this meeting was, the way this meeting was run was, it was just wow. It was just a matter of, this is how things get done, and it became my golden standard of doing things. Plan, do, review. So I kind of think that the 3 tools that anybody would need in their lives, and it kind of ties in with the plan, do, review. The 3 tools that anybody would need in their life to make a success is a microscope, is a telescope, and a scalpel. Now these 3 tools are symbolic. Please people, I don't want everybody to have a microscope, telescope, and a scalpel. They are symbolic, and I think these are the minimum 3 tools that you would need in your life to make a success of whatever you are doing. So basically okay, let's start with the telescope. And okay, they're in no particular order, right? But I'd like to start with the telescope just to kind of make sense of what I'm saying. So the telescope is used to look out into space, into far distances. Look out and you have a broad view of what's out there, when you look out into space, and it represents the future. Now, no one can see the future. I don't believe anyone knows the future or anyone can see the future, but you can certainly predict the future. But the telescope represents your outlook in life. It represents where you want to be, where you want to be going. So if you're looking this way, this is the way that you want to go. You're exploring and you can focus on something that you want to achieve. It's part of your planning, it's part of your strategy, it's part of your goals and your aims, what you want to achieve. Okay, so that's the telescope, it's the outlook. Then the microscope basically looks at the finer detail. It analyzes in detail. It looks at the particles that puts everything together and how these particles grow. If you look at a cell, you look at what the makeup of a cell is and how a cell grows and how a cell feeds, and it's the finer detail. Okay, so if you have this outlook, you obviously need to know how to put things in order, how to build this puzzle that will take you there, right? Like I said, no one knows the future. I think the future is determined by, we actually create the future. How we put things together, what we do now determines the future. No one knows the future. The future is determined by what we do. Okay, that's the microscope, analyzing and knowing the detail, what's in the detail. Then you have the scalpel. The scalpel is where you actually do the operation, right? And it talks to the operations of getting to where you want to go, right? So that's the scalpel. The scalpel, it cuts open, the scalpel operates and it puts things in motion, right? It's the operation, right? Like a doctor would operate a patient, so you will have to run your operations, and that's the scalpel. So these are the 3 tools that everybody needs in their lives, and if you have these 3 tools, you are guaranteed to, or you're in a better position to meet your outlook or to meet your goals. Thank you, people. That's my 15 minutes live, and goodbye.